This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, welcome to our MS group tonight. My name is Kim. I am one of the moderators. I am from Des Moines, Iowa. I have relapsing remitting, diagnosed in 2012, and I just had my Ocrevus infusion yesterday, so I am still a little loopy from the steroids and lack of sleep. So if I'm even worse than usual understanding me, it's probably be, yeah. So just bear with me tonight on that. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves and let me know if you need any time tonight to talk. So John, go ahead and introduce yourself. I know you said you already needed to talk because we talked about that before. So go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm John. I'm from Big Rapids, Michigan. I have relapsing remitting multiple sclerosis, and I currently take Zeposia.
And then you're going to talk. Okay, Frank, do you want to introduce yourself tonight? You are muted.
Felt like that it was definitely something paranormal. What part of the paranormal, I wasn't really sure.
Probably a good thing I'm muted. Uh, my name is Frank Austin. I'm from Plainville, Kansas. I have secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, and I am on absolutely nothing.
Sunshine.
And Sunshine. Thank you, Frank.
Sunshine.
Okay, Marlo, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Sterling Heights, Michigan, relapsing remitting, dimethyl fumarate, and I was diagnosed in April of 22.
Oh, very new. Welcome. Well, we will come back to you tonight. Did you have any questions or let me get back to you. Let me introduce everybody, get everybody, and then we'll come back to you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, you're all coming in. So, Sherry, go ahead and introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hi, I can't see myself. Oh, there I am.
Yes, you are
I'm,
on. We see your video.
I'm Sherry from Michigan. I've got relapsing remitting MS, diagnosed in 2008.
Okay. And then did you need time to talk tonight?
I'll listen tonight.
Okay. You were here last time, weren't you? Am I remembering?
My
Okay.
first time was last time.
Okay, great to see you back. I thought you
Thank
looked
you.
familiar, but sometimes I don't. My memory's not the
I
best. I
got
don't
my
always
hat
remember.
on. I got my hat on. That's right.
Yes, we are totally overrun by the Michiganiters tonight, but that's totally fine. Tim, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hey everybody. Let's see here. I'm Tim. I'm in Virginia. I just got done putting my girls down to bed, so let me turn off the classical music. There we go. And yeah. Let's see here. Relapsing remitting. Yay. And Aubagio is my drug of choice. And then I also do I can't think of the name now. It's stuff to keep me awake. Anyhow, I don't need any time.
Or Vigil or New Vigil? Amantadine?
No, it's amantadine. That's what it is.
And you do not need time tonight? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, Tim. Barry, welcome. I think you're new tonight. Would you like to introduce yourself? You are muted, Barry, if you want to unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry about that. I didn't know if you called me or not. My name is Barry. I'm an MS alcoholic, and I was diagnosed 3 years ago, and I can barely walk. But thanks to the great state of California, they purchased me a machine that I can ride on,
Wheelchair of some sort?
and didn't cost me a thing. Anything else?
No, we're going to come back to you because you are new to the group. So let me go ahead and get everyone else here, and then we'll come back to you. Marie, welcome. You want to introduce yourself?
If I could, uh, I'm Marie Carpenter from New Jersey. I have progressive relapsing MS. I was diagnosed in 2021.
Are you currently on any medication?
I just started Ocrevus.
Oh, okay, cool. I just had my infusion yesterday of Ocrevus.
Did you say you have progressive relapsing MS?
That's what they say for now. God knows what's going to happen next time I go see the neurologist.
Because that's the rare one.
It's rare.
Okay. Well, welcome, Marie. We will come back to you. Let me get everyone else here. Mike from Arizona. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Thanks, Kim. I'm Mike from Arizona. I live nearby to Rick Davis, and I joined this group, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I have relapsing remitting since 2000 or 1980, 1998. And I am no longer taking any disease modifying therapy because it doesn't work for me, and I'm in the secondary phase of progressive and doing all right. Good to be here.
Do you need any time tonight to talk, Mike?
I don't care. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Carmen from Canada. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you. It's Carmen. I am in Kelowna, BC, Canada. So I'm happy to report that there's still some light out there at this time of day, which is lovely. We know that winter is finally fading away. Anyway, I have primary progressive MS. I was diagnosed in 2014. I'm on Ocrevus and have been for 4 years. It was working quite well in the beginning, not so remarkable now. And actually, I just did some interesting reading that Ocrevus, there's a study going on for based on weight, like that lighter people do better because they have, well, it just is more effective. So there's a study actually going on. I was very curious about that. So there may be some changes down the road as far as dosing for us heavier gals, but anyway, I wonder if that's why it's not working so well, or I don't know. If anyone has any comments on that knows anything, I'd be open to hearing it, but I don't need any time today. Thanks.
Thanks, Carmen. And last but not least, Christy. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Christy from Brighton, Colorado, just right outside of Denver. I was diagnosed, recently, I was bumped up to active secondary progressive MS. I was diagnosed, this is my anniversary month, 20 years ago. Um, wow, 20 years. Sorry, it just hit me. I am on Ocrevus. And yes, I would like some time tonight.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Christy. I think I got everybody, all the introductions. So let's go ahead. So we have 3 new people tonight in the group. It's so exciting to have some new people. So let's go ahead. Just hear when you first come to our group, we kind of like to hear a little bit about you. And since you have a whole group of people here that have MS, it's also a perfect time to ask your questions about MS or anything. So let's start with Marlo. You want to tell us a little about yourself, and if you have any questions you want to ask the group or comments, or
Yeah, I don't have much to say tonight. My onset was like 97. So I just exercised hard for all those years. So there was like a suspicion, and then I was diagnosed in April of 2022. I found you guys on YouTube, and I loved watching you and just hearing other people that understand. Like, I haven't told my family or anything just because I don't want to hear it. You know, everybody's got something to say. So I just everything I hear from you guys is what I experience. So I wanted to join in, but I don't have much to ask right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you do have anything, let us know. We also have a chat box. If anyone, feel free to use that and have side conversations all you want in the chat box. Sometimes people feel more comfortable with that. I believe our other Mike, is this Mike from Colorado that just came on? Do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, guess
No,
he has
he
left.
just left.
Okay.
I
We'll
I
go
do
ahead.
have a question. By the way, I'm just sort of supporting the moderators here. Hello, but what you said to me really struck me, and it may be something we can return to. But I just got a feel it must be so lonely for you when you can't share your diagnosis with anybody.
Well, I've seen people on YouTube, or you know what? I heard a story on the moth, and this woman. I can't remember what her situation was, but she went back and said, "I just wish I'd never shared it with my family because of all the reasons that." I mean, here I am sharing it, but I mean, here I am on YouTube, so you never know how small the world is. But I saw you guys from all over the country. I said, what's the chances, right? So, but you know, it's like you've seen things throughout your life. Other family members that are, I've got a relative with lupus, you know, and you hear all the comments in the background. Well, he seems fine to me, you know, and you know, blah blah blah, and he's, you know, whatever, man. I don't want to hear it, you know. So whatever happens, happens, and I'm just glad to be here and talk to people.
Yeah, I think you'll find some very empathetic, not to mention sympathetic ears in this group about this. And we've heard this a lot. And I just encourage Kim, I'll leave it to you, but whether we want to visit this topic now or come back to it. But gosh, I kind of feel like people are bursting to talk to talk about this issue, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna bop to the other two newbies tonight, and then we can come back because I wanna. I'm notorious for not getting to everybody, and then I feel bad at the end of the night when it's like, okay, it's like really late at night, and we never got to talk to this person. So, we definitely a great topic to talk about because, especially like when you're employed and stuff, it's like, do I want to tell my employer? Do I want to go down that route? And it's a good topic, but let's hold on to it for a moment. And let's jump to Barry. Barry, did you want to tell us a little about yourself, or do you have any questions at all that you wanted to ask the group?
My name is Barry. I live in California. I'm in my mid 50s. I was diagnosed about 3 years ago in June with remitting relapsing, which is very curious to me how I could be diagnosed with remitting relapsing right off the bat. How do you know that's what I have? Anyway, it's gotten worse. I could walk with a cane for about the first 18 months, and then in probably the last 18 months, I've had to sit down in a chair, you know, with one of those in order to get around. Um, my wife wants me to walk more, which I should do. I try, but it's hard. I'm on rituximab, which I think is the same as Ocrevus. I think, pretty sure. But rituximab is what they give me twice a year, every 6 months.
Rituximab is a different drug than Ocrevus.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure my doctor said it's the same thing. Maybe y'all can Google it, but
he said, I think that it's the same as Ocrevus. Because I asked him about it. I said, everybody else is on this O thing. And he said, yeah, the same thing as what you're taking. Nah, whatever. It didn't help. You're supposed to slow progression, right? I have progressed significantly since I was first diagnosed. So it's not helping, period, in my opinion. I used to play guitar, I can't anymore.
Did you have any questions for the group at all? Anything you'd like to ask other people that have MS?
My question would only be, what do you do to keep yourself busy now that you can't do all the shit you used to do?
That is an excellent, excellent question. Who wants to
No,
start?
Barry, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I bought myself some real nice colored pencils, some really nice, like, search books, stuff like that. But also, like, one of my favorite things to do was play disc golf. And now that I'm in a wheelchair, that doesn't work at all anymore. So I still stay active in the community by being a judge at competitions, things like that. So I still do it, but I don't actually play anymore. And take care of all the hobbies on your list.
Kim, I have a question for Barry. Um, Barry's in his mid 60s, and so he was diagnosed in his 60s. What?
50s.
He was diagnosed in his 50s, 50.
Okay, 50s. Did he have any symptoms before 3, 4 years ago?
Never. All of a sudden, I just started falling down at work, and I went to my doctor, and he asked me to walk down the hallway, and he said, I think you have MS. Sent me upstairs to see what's the next guy up? I don't remember. He sent me upstairs to see another
Neurologist?
guy. Yeah, that's it. And he asked me to walk down the hall and come back, and he said, I think you have MS. So they did a spinal tap and an MRI, and 2 weeks later they said, you have MS. And I quit my job, went on Social Security, and now I sit around all day long and do absolutely nothing.
Thank you for
Bored.
that information. Information, Barry. It helps us to understand uh, the progress of your MS. I don't know if there's any answers for you, but at least we know that.
Well, the medication they have me on, rituximab, supposed to slow the progression. Nothing has slowed anything. I went from walking and falling down to walking with a cane to riding in a chair within 3 years.
Mhm.
3 years.
Could he have
It was,
primary progressive, Kim? Do you know?
So they
they
said
call it,
relapsing and remitting. That's what they said.
yeah, that's what they originally reported it as, and it has not changed to my knowledge.
What does your neurologist say about your condition now and how quickly you've declined? Most people
He
don't
took me
decline that quickly.
he took me off my meds. He said, you don't need this anymore. It's not helping, so you don't need it anymore. So I'm currently on 0 medication.
They took you off the
Maybe,
rituximab.
Correct.
Okay.
The diagnosis may have changed to secondary progressive, like Frank and myself.
So does anyone
Yeah,
have,
maybe I need a new second opinion.
do you see an MS specialist, Barry, or do you just see a normal neurologist?
I talked to an MS specialist over
Mm-hmm.
Zoom,
Okay.
but there was nothing new. He basically just looked at my chart and asked me a few questions and said, "There's nothing I can do for you. You're already doing it." And that was when I was on rituximab. But shortly after that, they took me off of rituximab because they said, "You've had enough. You're done. It's not helping. Go your own way."
Barry,
So
can I say something real simple? Get a second opinion.
yes, yeah. Well, I
Go get
agree, and that's what I.
go to a neurologist and get a second opinion.
And Barry,
I
remember,
agree.
they're working for you, so you can fire your neurologist. I've gone through 3 to find the person that I like.
Raise your hand if you fired your neurologist in the past.
I
I
agree.
only got 2 arms. I need 4 more.
Unfortunately, I am a Kaiser patient, and they assign you to a specific doctor. I'm not sure how easy it would be to get a different neurologist.
If we had Karen on the
Uh,
call, which she may show up later, she would be an
Right.
excellent resource for that because she lives in Oakland and she goes through Kaiser.
That was
Right.
my
And
next comment was Karen.
Karen
yeah,
Waldnick, you
and
know about that. Does
Yeah,
anyone have,
it's
go ahead.
oh, I was
one
just gonna
thing.
say it's about being your own advocate when you have MS. You can't just rely on, and this is something I've learned since I've started coming here about being my own advocate with my entire medical team. If something's not sitting right, you got to be, you know, you got to speak up for yourself and you just got to push the buttons and it doesn't matter. Keep pushing until you get what you need. That's my
I
I
two
have
I
totally
just
agree with that.
want to say one quick thing before I see Marie has her hand up. But I can tell you that at Kaiser, it is very easy to switch docs. That is one of the best aspects of Kaiser. So what you need, what I would do, Barry, is look at the Kaiser. Are you Northern or Southern California?
Northern.
Okay. So I would look at some of the Kaisers around you, look at the list of neurologists on the website, and see if any of the neurologists indicate a specific interest in MS. And it's not a problem to get another doctor at Kaiser. It is probably the one of the best benefits for Kaiser. I was a Kaiser patient for many years.
I have to
Listen,
agree
I,
with advocacy because my progression went fast as well. They told me I was relapsing, remitting, but I kept on saying, but my symptoms haven't gone away. And that's when they put me on progressive relapsing. And uh, from there, that they have, they still go with the relapsing because a lot of the drugs are the same, just to keep the lesions from coming up or being too active.
Well, and since you're in Northern California, Barry, I really think you should connect with Karen. She's in Oakland. And so she knows Kaiser in and out up there. One thing I would suggest that I've heard Karen speak about quite often is a social worker through Kaiser, and they will help you navigate and get you to the correct people. So,
Thank you.
And then did anyone else want to answer Barry's question of how you keep yourself busy now that you can't do things that you have done before? Anyone have any? I mean, I could talk on. Okay, Tim, let's hear what you got.
Well, I thought I saw on Barry's wall there a guitar, if I saw that correctly. You know, maybe it's my drugs, I don't know. But there you go. Your guitar, hook up the guitar. Oh, well, you got an acoustic, you got an electric
Yeah.
guitar. Bingo, bingo. That's something that you can do. Something that I do is I do a lot of computer work. That's why I still, I'm still working and all that stuff. So I do a lot of podcasting for my job. Stuff stuff like that is easy. That's low hanging fruit. That's easy stuff that you can get into.
Think of it as an opportunity to do things that maybe you haven't been able to do before or had the time to do. I know for myself, I absolutely love to read. I do have cognition issues due to MS, so sometimes my reading is young adult books instead because adult books sometimes are too hard in my life, so I have to step back
Yeah.
from adult books. But then I just allow myself to indulge in young adult books, and then when my cognition gets better, then I'll delve back into the adult books. And I think the thing for me is just being gentle on myself the entire time, not beating myself up for the things I no longer am able to do as easily. You know, if I can get out of bed, I can get up and get dressed and brush my teeth and eat. It's a good day. Like, high fives all around. It's an amazing day. Anything else is just icing on the cake. And so you really have to learn how to what you considered what you did before in your life, and now you really have to rework your brain like, okay, if I can do this much, that is a successful day. And in doing things what you love and enjoy, one of the things I volunteer and I do bereavement calls, and I just do that from my home on my cell phone with the headset on. Any type of volunteering you're interested in, any hobbies you want to dive into. I love I buy one of my few subscriptions I buy is YouTube Premium, because YouTube is like a library, a video library from just regular, you know, this is on YouTube that's recording to commercial things. So it's just kind of a wide variety, and I don't like commercials at all. So I pay the $10 and I can watch whatever I want with no commercials. So that's an idea, but there's just a lot. It's just like, look at it as an opportunity to explore things that you kind of been too busy because you had to live your life. You get this busy work life or this crazy, like, this is now your time to focus on what you want to do, what you want to prioritize, and you just have to be really super gentle on yourself that you're the same person. You're as amazing as you were before. You're still kicking booty, but you just have to tweak a couple of things, and your mindset you have to change on what you are able to do. And don't beat yourself up when you're like, oh well, I used to be able to do that. No, you can get a lot of stuff accomplished, but it takes a long time to get there.
And
It's
and
not over.
Barry, I'm just gonna say, like, coming to terms with your old life, you know what I mean? Like your old life before is the hardest thing. Like a lot of times it's even harder than dealing with my symptoms. So it's gonna take some time to come in harmony with that. But we all wish you the best,
Agreed.
you know.
Totally. I was just
Agreed.
going to say, Kim, you've said a couple times to be gentle on yourself, and it's something that I'm really working on too, just like changing my expectations. And
Mhm.
I have very high expectations. I was working full time until last year. And I mean, I'm still out and about. I do a lot of things. I overdo it every single day because I have expectations on myself. And then there I am, a mess, like a puddle, and mad at myself. A, because I can't do it, and then B, because I think that I can do it, and I shouldn't think that I can do it. So I'm like beating myself up on both sides. So I'm trying to like lower the expectations, be a little more like just give myself a bit of grace. But that is the most challenging part. Like the symptoms, yeah, okay, the symptoms are there. I got to deal with them. But that mental piece is really challenging, but that's something really important.
Agreed.
And with time, you'll
I do
become
have.
more comfortable with it, but it's not an overnight thing.
No.
Well, since I quit
I can.
working, I've picked up new hobbies. I've just picked up new hobbies. And I've sought out hobbies that I never thought I could do before, like through, um, AnCan and also through the MS Foundation. They have art programs, and it's like, I never had time for art. Like life was just too busy. I worked full time, all I did was, I had a full time, it's just me and my husband, no kids, but full time home life. Um, and now that I have all this time, I do stuff like I have a much harder cognitive than Kim, so I have to do Audible books. That's the only way I can get through a book is through Audible. But I've picked up more Audible listening, um, and I picked up art, and I do art outside of just the art classes, just to keep my mind busy. I've also picked up puzzles, just anything to keep my mind busy and keep it still functioning. So that's another thing that you'll find that you'll to find stuff that'll keep your mind busy and functioning. But that's what I do with now that I have all this time on my hands.
I realized I had my diamond painting here I could show where you put the little tiny dots in and it creates a picture.
Yeah, my wife does that.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I do diamond painting now. I really like it.
Is it
And with it,
hard?
there's no, it's a sticky surface, and then it's kind of like cross stitch, so it tells you which colors to put in. And there's round diamonds or square diamonds. The square ones I use tweezers a lot for the ones I first put in. But with the round ones, this is what you do. The round ones, I decided since it's easier, I'm using my non-dominant hand to work my brain, guys.
Hmm.
So when I first started doing, I'm like, oh, this is kind of hard with my right hand, and now as I'm doing, I'm like, oh, this is a lot easier. So okay, anything else you want to talk about that before we go on to Marie for her to tell us about herself and any questions that she had? Okay, Marie, you have the floor.
Hi.
Hi.
I first time here trying to figure out all about this because it's a learning process. And my
Absolutely.
cognitive and my vocal are have gone far down since
Mm-hmm.
it's started. It was like an overnight process of
Oh,
MS is as far as my diagnosis, and my disability went the same way overnight. I was independent, and then I wasn't. I'm on
wow.
disability now, but I I can't work or do anything at this point just because of my thinking process is not where it used to be.
I understand that 100%.
Hmm. But
So
I'm trying to learn more about this, and I found this on the web, so might as well.
good. I'm glad you're here. Did you have any questions for us tonight, Marie?
No, no, not right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you do, speak up. And then no, the other mic keeps going off and on. I was gonna say we're gonna introduce him, but I think he's gone again. So, okay.
And I
Well,
think you had
oh,
Louis just pop on too.
sorry.
Louis
Oh,
just popped
Louie,
up.
there we go. Louie, introduce yourself. Welcome.
Hi. Oh, okay. Um, so I'm Louis from San Antonio, Texas, relapsing remitting, diagnosed in November 2021, and I'm on Ocrevus.
Did you need time tonight, Louie?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Okay, we're going to swing it back up to John here. John wanted to talk about some stuff tonight.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't know if I let you guys know that I got my power chair. Um, it's great. I just wish I had a vehicle to take it somewhere with. You know, because excuse me, that's like the next difficult thing to deal with. But we've got some leads and things are going well with that. Um,
Ron, where do you live?
uh, Big Rapids, Michigan. So like 45 miles north of Grand Rapids.
Okay. Do you have a fixed bus system there?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a bus
Yeah,
system there?
yeah,
Do they have a paratransit?
yeah,
Get involved with the paratransit and they'll take you wherever you need to go.
yeah. All right, excellent. Would you put that in the chat bar for me?
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Um,
Medicare bought me a chair, but I also purchased a scooter that is easily disassembled to put in the back of a car. It was only $1,400.
yeah, the weight of this chair is a lot, but
Yes, mine
we're just
too.
gonna we're just gonna end up having to get a minivan, you know, an accessible one with like stone go seating and the whole thing, and I'm gonna put racing stripes on it, and maybe have the tires stick out a little bit, maybe some hydraulics, whatever. You know, just the things I've always wanted to do to a car.
John, of
Um,
course you would doctor it up. I just love the picture that you create of that.
yeah, I mean that's literally it. Um, oh, I saw it was a Trans Am that had a 55-foot long ramp so that it can, you know, and the chair could go right up and into the driver's seat. And then it was great, but it was like insanely difficult to like use. But that doesn't matter. If you're driving in a Trans Am, you're rocking and rolling.
As
Um,
I said, the I have a chair and a scooter, and they told me the chair is for indoors, the scooter is for outdoors, and the scooter is cheaper, and it's easily disassembled, and it's much cheaper than the chair.
I will definitely look into a scooter. Yeah, thank you, Barry. Um, Other things that happened, I fell twice last week. Um,
Did you have to call
Falling,
for assistance?
yeah, falling always sucks, right? Especially when it's you're getting into your car to drive an hour and a half to get your RC car repaired, which is something that you found a new love of, you know, like when you move into a house and things like that. Um, so I have Christmas money that I want to spend on it and get some new shocks and, you know, differential covers and, you know, new motor, new wheels, you know, just all the stuff. I'm ready to invest more than what I bought paid for the car. But that's the best part about a hobby. is spending money on the little stuff and getting it together. So what happened, I was turning to sit on the seat and I couldn't make it, so I sat down on the ledge like next to the seat, and then I fell forward, and so I was leaning up with my arms against the side of the car as if whatever I was doing was gonna fucking help me get up. I'm already on my way down. Gravity has won at this point. And then so I just fell back slowly and laid on my back, and I said, Melissa, call 911. And she did that, and I had 6 EMTs come out, and I've met them all before. I live in a really small town, Sherry. So like,
I know where you live.
okay, good.
Been there.
Um, they're all on their way to lunch. They thought they'd all come out and say hi to John. They got me off the ground, got me in my chair, pushed me up next to my couch. I was able to stand up and transfer onto my couch using my walker. And they're like, "Oh yeah, you're cool. You just you had trouble out there." And then what was my other fall? Oh, it was so I was backing up to sit on the toilet, and I got twisted around and I sat sideways on it with
Oh,
my leg like jammed into like the 4 inches of space between my sink and my toilet side, and like we couldn't get me out, couldn't get me up. Melissa was just trying to do her best, trying to like actually physically pick me up, move my legs around. I said, well, you know what? They're here just 2 days ago. Maybe they can, maybe it'll be the same people. But no, it was the firemen.
oh,
So it was two of the firemen who I've met before. I mean, Sherry, honestly, I fell on Easter last year, and they brought me Easter candy.
oh,
You know what I mean? I'm a
nice.
regular in something I never wanted to be a regular in before. Like that's not the club I want to be in,
Mm-mm.
you know. Um, but they're all very kind, and they say like, you're one of our easier slip falls because you tell us exactly what to do. Like, okay, you're gonna pick up my arms, and then you're gonna throw a sheet around me, and then pull me back onto my chair so I'm not falling, but I'm under control. And boom, we get that done. Like this is how I want to transfer onto my couch. Check this out. And then boom, boom, boom. The fireman actually asked if we could build like a map for them on where I go, in the house and that sort of thing. And if I were to fall, where I would most likely fall. Like, yeah, so if I have to call them myself, they'll know right where to go. And that feels like a good thing. Um, and then
Peace of
after,
mind.
what's that? Peace of
A
mind?
little
Yeah.
peace of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I got to see the doctor last week, just my primary care. And I think I mentioned that I had corticosteroids in my SI joint on my right side. So they give you nice big shots in the lower of your back that goes between bone.
Oh,
Um, it effectively wore off 5 days after I had it, and I still have bruises from the procedure that happened over a month ago. So I'm at my doctor's. I'm explaining this to him. He's like, I thought the pain clinic had you all set, John. I really, really did. We're going to do something that you don't want to do. And I said, I don't want to be on any opioid, please, because y'all know I've been really trying to keep away from that. But he said, John, it's going to take away a lot of the pain so that you can actually start doing standing and sitting and moving around. Um, so I take one right before bed so that I wake up and my back pain is not there, so I can get out of bed. And then, so that's like 10 hours. And then like I take one right when I get up, so it'll be uh, in effect by the time that I'm done. Sit standing off my bed, sit standing off my wheelchair onto the toilet, sit stand. Just all the things that go into just getting to your coffee. And then it's been doing really well. For instance, today, twice, I was able to get out of my office chair in and use my walker to get to my wheelchair for
Oh,
Melissa to come and help
yay.
and get me out. Yeah, like I felt really good about that. So I can take up to 3 per day. Do I need it? Heck no. I'm trying to. How we take our pills, but we do opioids. I just feel like it's some like it's a higher class of drug than I've ever been on. You know, except for when I've been knocked out for surgery.
What did they give you, John? I'm just curious.
Tramadol, 50 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh,
that used to not even
that's
be
a
a
baby
controlled
pain
substance,
pill.
John.
What's
That's a
that?
baby pain pill.
Yeah,
I
John,
know.
they didn't make that controlled substance until like 8 or 9 years ago. It was not a controlled substance. So let so Sherry's like, that's baby. Don't worry
Okay,
about that one.
okay, that
You
works.
can have you can have problems with it, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's no oxycodone right there.
no.
but after having no back pain the next day, I was like, I can see why people will, take these recreationally. I'm like, no, I'm not that guy. As we all know, I have other um, Schedule One drugs that I take for other things in the evening, which I love Michigan finally making it all legal also. That's just like
Yoo-hoo.
South Canada.
You
Hey,
betcha.
John,
Yes,
one
Christy.
thing that I was prescribed because I have the same thing about opioids. I
Yeah,
do not want them. Um, but with everything that's been going on with me with my spasms, spasticity, and stuff like that, I went to a pain management doctor and I expressed to them I don't want a strong opioid. I just need something to help curb this pain.
yeah,
Um, and I have tramadol, and that's like on my really, really bad days. Um, but they also prescribed to me, I don't know if you've ever heard of it before, it's called Belbuca.
yeah.
So that is just like a film that you rest across, like rest in your cheek,
Mhm.
and let it dissolve. And that stuff worked great for me. So if ever tramadol stops working, because you know how sometimes medications stop working the longer you take them,
Yeah.
I would strongly recommend speaking to your doctor about Belbuca, because
Christy,
that,
can
Okay.
you write the name of it in the chat box for John?
yes, I
Thank you.
definitely
Thank you.
can.
So, honestly, Sherry and Kim, thank you for just being like, hold up, John. It's like basic, it's like training wheels. All right.
You're like a
It's
step above Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Yeah.
and that's really what I needed.
You're
Like
not
I've
doing hardcore Percocet. No, you're good. You're good.
yeah. Because I mean, I would
But
take all the Tylenol and stuff and be like, well, this touches it, but for like 3 hours.
It sounds
But
like it's just good. It's healthy to be scared of it.
it's really
Yeah.
healthy to, like, if you start like wanting it like candy or not getting, then we
yeah,
need to maybe do different dose, maybe try other medications. But if it's helping you transfer and get in and out of bed and be able to move, when you were telling your story, John, it reminds me of a friend of mine that broke her pelvis while biking, and
Oh,
she tried to do PT and she was in so much pain she couldn't do any PT, and they're like, look, you have to take pain medication so we can get you moving so you can get back on track. So she had for her it was temporarily, had to
yeah.
deal with it so she could move, so she could recover. But that was really a struggle for her. Like, how? I'm just like, no, you're acute, and with you it's more chronic, but you just have to be able to monitor, how you're feeling, where you're at, and things like that.
And one honestly good thing is Melissa has the pill bottle
Mhm.
and she fills my pills. And I just said, you know what? Don't just fill my pill bottle with that, my pill box. Just when I ask for one, would you mind going to the kitchen and getting one? And he's like, yeah, absolutely sure. Absolutely sure. So I don't even know if I have a refill on this or not. Um, but like I said, once it kicked in, I was like, I understand why people like these, you know. Um, but in 2021, around it was like December 22nd, I had a friend with MS pass away from opioid abuse. Um, it was really nuts. We went to high school together. Um, for all of you Michigan people, I went to New Valley Catholic Central in Saginaw. So I'm a Saginaw boy, born and raised. And out of my class of 106, four of us have MS. Yeah, yeah, we lived right on the Tittabawassee River by Dow,
Oh no.
right? Um, but we're pretty close with each other, even more so than we were in high school.
You know what's weird
Did you
is
have
my next door
water?
neighbor had MS. I moved there. She's got MS. Our daughters are friends, and then I get MS. And there's like a hot block in the Cadillac, Michigan. That must have been. There's like a lot of neurological diseases in that place. You know, for your next door neighbor and your daughter's best friend's mom to get MS and you do, that's kind of
Yeah,
odd.
yeah, yeah. And kind of finally, I just want to make sure that no one was stationed in Camp Lejeune, because I see that commercial 500 times a day saying, if you're stationed at Camp Lejeune, you may have this, you may have that.
Get that.
And it's on 500 times an hour. So you have to put that on mute and wait for the Price is Right to come back on. So thanks for time. Thanks for listening to me. I appreciate all of you. And it's nice to see all of you as well. When I miss it.
John, I just wanted to say, like, I take codeine, and I mean it's kind of similar to tramadol level, I would say. But the big thing, and I'm just going to give you this as a heads up, is add fiber to your diet because it can be constipating.
Um, that makes sense.
Yeah, so just as an FYI.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I do take fiber gummies in the morning and eat like bran throughout the day, different things. And not just pure bran, that would be dusty, I think. All right. Kim, who's next?
Well, Barry, did you have a comment you wanted to make before we go on to the next person?
I was just gonna say that I have Alexa and Google Home, which is very helpful. Oh, shut up! Alexa's talking to me.
That was a
Anyway,
perfect example, Barry.
That's so
if
helpful.
you ever fall down, Alexa can make phone calls for you, and Google can turn lights on and off, and the heater and all that crap. I think I paid maybe $500 for all of the things I needed to trick out my entire house, but it was well worth it.
That's awesome to hear, Barry.
Especially for people like me who can't, walk.
Christy, did you want to share, or did anyone else want to make a comment or anything else before we go to Christy? Okay, Christy, you're up.
Well, I haven't talked much lately. I just wanted to throw it out there. I'm having a really, really hard time with everything I've been going through. It's like my depression is heightened so high that there isn't any amount of like antidepressant that I can take that will help with it. Um, I just everything, and usually I'm really good with rolling with the punches and mourning my old self and accepting my new. But as of lately, like my new is getting harder and harder to accept. Um, I am in a wheelchair and it's like that I don't mind. But I'm having to do it's taking me 4 times longer to do anything. Um, and I just don't have the strength, you know, to stand myself up. My legs have gotten stronger since I've gotten the pump put in. Only one leg though, but my other leg is like dead. I can't really lift it, and that's something that is pretty much like bringing my mood down and making me feel like what's my purpose, and I'm constantly saying, what do I have to contribute when I can't even do this? I can't even do that, and I don't know how to move on from here. No matter how hard I try, I've got my husband, he's sitting there telling me, you can do it. It's just going to take you longer. And I'm like, I cannot do it no matter how hard I try. And that's very deflating.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how hard I try, I cannot do it. And I don't have hours upon hours to get something done. Like, oh, I don't know, go to the bathroom and get
Yeah.
myself dressed after going to the bathroom because I can't lift my leg. It's just really, it's been really hard for me. Um,
It's really
and
dehumanizing, isn't it?
yeah, it really is. And it's gotten so hard for me. And I don't know. I mean, this literally, like, from when was it? November of 2020, I think it was. No, 2021. I can't remember. I was walking, I was fine. Then I was using a walker. And then, I had to transition to a rollator because I needed to be able to rest. And then I went from rollator to wheelchair. And and I'm only 42. Yeah, I don't even know how old I am. I'm only 42. I'm going to be 43 this year. And it's just like I feel like this disease has robbed me of the best years of my life. And I just feel like no amount of physical therapy or, surgeries like the pump I had implanted or anything like that is going to give me back a quality of life that I would expect to have at my age, even if it's just a glimpse of it. And I mean, yeah, like I said, I've picked up new things that I haven't done before, but there's so much that I still want to, fulfill my bucket list with or cross off my bucket list. And it seems impossible. So, I mean, I've always wanted to travel everywhere, and that more and more is not. as as possible. I've wanted to do certain things when I travel, which now is impossible now that I'm in a wheelchair and I'm not ambulatory with my legs. So that's what I mean. Like, this disease is robbing me of my life, of what I envisioned for my life. I'm glad I got to do my one big trip for my 40th birthday, but that was my first time out of the country, and it'll probably be my last time out of the country. So it's just really hard. I'm going through a really hard time, I should say. So I just wanted to voice that. And then, on a good note, I got an email today that it is MS Awareness Week. I was going to wear my orange, and I completely forgot to get it for the meeting. But yeah, so I just throw that out there as well.
Your shirt looks kind of orangey on the screen.
It's red. Thank you.
It's kind of
I have
orangey.
an orange shirt like you, like what you're wearing, Kim. But
The
yeah,
obnoxious, yeah, neon.
I like that. I like the obnoxious orange though.
Yeah, like you want to stop traffic, wear that orange.
I miss
Well,
driving.
let me tell you about wearing orange. Last week, 190 of us showed up in Washington, D.C., all wearing orange, and descended on the Capitol building to talk to our congressmen and senators about things that we people with MS care about. And they know when we come in to the Capitol wearing our orange. They do know.
That's awesome.
They're like, oh, damn it, the MS people are here again.
Well, it was us and the VFW. I mean, what can you say?
Okay, good.
Christy,
So yeah,
I wanted to just acknowledge what you said about your missing out on so many things and being robbed, and I think that we can all really acknowledge that same feeling. And you know, I've struggled with this too, back and forth, and sometimes what has helped me is that I just look at all lives as like a roll of the dice, and this round I just got a shitty roll. And then I just carry on, because dwelling on it does nothing to help me. Now, that's a very lighthearted, very, upper level kind of simplistic way to look at it, when there's very complex emotions and depression and everything else involved. So I'm not trying to take anything away from that. But that's one little thing that I have tried to sometimes tell myself when I'm having a real hard time with it. My mom has MS and my sister has MS. You guys were talking about linked categories, and the small town I came from, there's a lot of MS too. But anyway, I have, I see it in my mom, I see it in my sister, and we all deal with it in very different ways. And um, I see how not being optimistic really has a detrimental effect. So I encourage you to try to find whatever is going to work for you to help keep your spirits up. But I feel for you, and I send you my heart.
well, thank you, Carmen.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I have been trying to find that optimistic side, but it's usually I'm pretty good about finding the silver lining. But this silver lining is not being apparent to me right now. It's more of a black lining,
Yeah.
and I'm really trying to find the silver lining in it. But it's like, just currently, it's like I take 2 steps forward, and then by morning I've taken 10 steps backwards, and it's a constant battle. Like, I can't even get myself into my own bed when I go to bed at night. That right there is a little dehumanizing to not be able to get into bed. Um, when you spent 40 or so years getting yourself in and out of bed. But now I have to rely on my husband because I can't lift my leg. I can slide over onto the bed, but I can't lift my leg to lay down. And then I don't have the strength to position myself in bed. It's little things like that
Mhm.
that I understand this is a new normal, but I don't like this new normal.
Yeah.
I literally want to fight this new normal like kick
It's a
its ass.
BS new normal that no one
Yeah,
deserves.
Hmm.
Thing I can say
I
about
mean,
MS is it's bullshit. I
it
say it, forgive
is.
me for my language, but we all agree.
Hmm. I say it
I've
almost
got
daily.
I
I've
wouldn't
got
I
stronger
wouldn't
words for MS, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
no, yeah.
No.
And I've said that consistently. Like when people ask me about, what I'm going through with my spasms, spasticity, it's like I would not wish this on my worst enemy or anybody else. Nobody deserves to go through the bullshit I've gone through with these spasms and spasticity. So,
And
I mean, I nobody deserves it. Not even myself, and that's including myself. I mean, I
and
don't care how horrible of a person you have been in your life. You do not deserve to deal with the spasms that I have dealt with.
and
So,
it also feels like it's not fair. Like I'm a 3-year-old. It just isn't fair.
right.
So I was,
And,
Is it?
I
sorry,
was gonna
go
say
ahead.
Marie had her hand up for a while. Did you have something you wanted to say, Marie?
No.
I just wanted to say that you gotta just pick yourself up. Depression really gets you down. And I know it's sometimes you just have to cry. But
Yeah,
then you pick yourself up and you say, okay, it's time to start over again.
yeah,
Yeah, trust me, cried more than I ever thought I could in my entire life that I've done in the past month.
yeah.
My husband says something that doesn't sit right with me, bam, I'm crying. And it's just like I cry because I can't get something done. The frustration levels get so high that I can't do it, that all I can do is cry. And it's just, my husband's always like, why are you crying? Well, if you had to deal with this bullshit, you know,
Yeah,
and part of me wants to be like have him go through the motions that I go through,
yeah,
but it's so hard to have somebody who's able-bodied, experience what I'm going through,
Mm.
you know, and it's like you can lift up your leg and get stuff taken care of. You can, you can stand up, pull your pants up. It's not like a constant struggle to get pants pulled up. And I've primarily switched over to um, what are the sweatpants because those are the easiest to get on and off.
Mhm.
I haven't worn jeans in 2 years, and I miss wearing my jeans. So,
Christy, full disclosure, I wear a nightshirt to meetings. You know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about pants because pants are stupid.
well, like I wish I could say pants are stupid, but I'm not comfortable unless I have pants on. I don't like my skin touching.
Fair enough.
And that's why I would wear skirts if I could, but I don't like my skin touching, so I'm always stuck with pants. It's like first world problems for me.
this isn't fair.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a
So,
Sorry,
book that I
my doggy Cal wanted to say hi to everyone.
Aw.
He's chilling way down low.
Hi.
He's the world's largest chihuahua.
there's a book that I read a couple months ago, Christy. I don't know if you remember Karen and I talking about it. The Edith Eger book, The Gift. She's the gal that was in the Holocaust when she was 16. She danced for the Angel of Death. And then she went later and got her PhD and became a clinical psychologist and was a counselor for people like PTSD, military, all that. She's still alive. She's in her mid 90s. Do you remember me talking about that at all?
that might have been
Yeah.
a why can't I think of the word? That might have been a meeting missed.
That's okay. That's okay. I was just, the reason I brought it up is then I read it. My cognitive was awful, but I could understand the surface level. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this book is so great. I'm going to have to go back and do a deep dive on this. And so I'm just starting my book club doing a deep dive on it. So I just finished reading just the intro of it. And I'm such a geek, guys, with a cognition. Like I'm treating it like school, where I actually write. I take notes and write, to help me remember, and then I can review it later because that's what I have to do. And I read a lot of books about this kind of stuff, dealing with, what's my purpose? Why am I here? How do I deal with, what we're going through? The same thing, like kind of what Barry was talking about at the beginning of the meeting. Like, what do I do that, my life has changed? What do I do with all this time? And how do I deal with all that? And I won't read you what I wrote because that'll take forever and that will dominate everything. But I will just tell a few things. She talks about her story about a little bit about, being in concentration camps. And she just said, I'm here to tell you that the worst prison is not the one the Nazis put me in. The worst prison is the one I built for myself. And she talks about unlocking our mental prisons. And I feel a lot with MS with me personally. I have this mental prison of what I was before and what I am now, and trying to unlock those prisons. I know you talked, Christy, about how you love to travel and how you want to travel, and you have this big fear of I'm not gonna be able to travel anymore because I'm not walking. And I think you are going to get to a point where you will have confidence and you're going to be able to travel. Frank just went to Washington D.C. to go, work on legislator. And I think I really do see you traveling. I see you traveling with me in the future. I'm excited about it. You don't know about it yet, but I'm excited about it. And
well, I think one of my bucket list travel destinations is Greece. And you guys have all seen Greece.
I
Not,
have family. I have
not,
ancestry from Greece. My great grandfather came over from Greece. I want to go.
it,
I thought you meant
it
the
is
movie.
not, it is not wheelchair friendly.
I
No, but there are
Christy,
ways to go ahead.
I I thought that you meant the movie Grease. Like, have you seen Grease? And some people said no, and I was like, what? Sorry.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
You're gonna get there. You have to realize, and she talks about this. What you're going through is like the depression you're experiencing. It will get. When I first got diagnosed with MS, I remember saying to myself, I have to go through the tunnel. I know it's gonna be crap, but I will get through the tunnel eventually. It's not gonna be. I'm not gonna be in this frame of mind. And she talks about having control. Like all I could do was decide how to respond to the terror and hopelessness, and she chose hope in her situation. And it's just, I find it helpful. I don't know if you would find it helpful, but I love, I'm going back and doing a deep dive in her book, and she goes through the different mental prisons, and she has exercises at the end of each chapter, and they're small. And I will post a link of it to Amazon here for you.
Awesome.
And the nice thing about this book is the chapters are very short. It's not a big long book. It's like a little over 200 pages. And it's really easy and concise, but she's very compassionate. She's very empathetic, but she is tough on you. She will not let you just like stay where you are. She wants you to progress. And I don't know how to explain about her, but I just her takeaway from the end of the intro is the ultimate key to freedom is to keep becoming who you truly are. And she talks about it's becoming so finally when you change your life it isn't to become the new you, it is to become the real you, the one of the kind. I'm like, she just says it in a way, for me it resonates. I don't know if you guys are resonating this at all or not.
Well, that's one I'll definitely have to listen to.
Yeah,
I
you
would
can
say this one I definitely have to
on
read, but I'll have to
on
listen.
Audible. If you want to go through it with me, because we do like a chapter a week or something, let me know. If anyone
Okay.
else wants to, let me know. I'm a book club nut person. I love to read stuff and try to figure out how it applies to my life. Um,
Little book club action. I like it, Kim.
oh my God, yes, I am a total, yeah, yeah. But I don't do the normal book club. The current book club that I do with someone else, we don't like read the whole book. We just do like a little bit because we want to deep dive and like um if I do a full book, I have to highlight it as I go, and then 3 hours before book club, I have to read all the highlighted stuff I did, or else I'll come into book club and all I know is the name of the title, and I can't tell you anything until you say Shanghai. I'm like, oh yeah, Shanghai, yeah, about that, but I can't pull it up because all my cognition issues. So, but I still
Right.
love book club. So that's like kind of like what Barry was talking about before. Like, how do you deal? Like, I love reading. I love discussing books. How do you go about it? Well, I break it down. I have to highlight it. I have to review it right before, but I still do it because I still love it. And when I first read this book, I'm like, oh my God, this is so good, but I am just not getting it because at this moment in time in my life, my cognition is just really not good. But I'm going to go back and revisit and do a deep dive because it's really, really good. And so that's what I'm doing. And reading a chapter, and I have to write down because I'm old school, guys. I write my notes handwriting out, and I think it's good for me anyway because it helps from my spelling and everything like that. And I rewrite it out and treat it like I'm in college, and I just love it, and it just is a passion. So I do it, and I don't care what anyone else thinks. It makes me
Yeah.
happy. But I hear other people go through really hardships and how they not only survive, but they thrive from it. And you're like, what, how did you do it? And then they take the time to tell you and walk you through what they did is like, I don't like to reinvent the wheel again. I like to learn from other people and what they've done because I find that super
Right.
that's why we have this group. You know, what has worked for you? What have you find helpful? So, anyway, I'll shut up about it, but just if anyone's interested, like send me a message in the chat or something that if you want to do a book club on something goofy like that or what, just let me know. Louis,
Well,
did you
I can
actually read
say,
the book?
well, I'm gonna a couple pages in. Yeah, maybe
Okay.
a chapter or two. So I like it so far, so I can vouch for it.
You started with the gift or the choice?
The gift. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, there's more than one?
Wait.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Okay.
her first book she wrote was about her whole experience with before the Holocaust, during the Holocaust, after the Holocaust, and things like that. This book is more like her. She talks about the Holocaust a little bit, and when she goes through her lessons, she talks about herself, she talks about clients, and she's kind of like bringing in like 14 lessons that have helped people get through difficulty in their life and moving forward and things. And so you're getting her perspective, her client's perspective. Some of the things she does is kind of non-traditional to get people to make, because if you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting uh, anything new is called insanity. So sometimes you have to think outside the box to get something to click. So
I'm not good at
also,
thinking outside the box. To be honest, I
well,
am not good.
and that's
You
why
know, I'm
it's
good.
fun to do things with other people or to read what other people think because that gives you fresh ideas and perspectives.
Yeah.
Another silly book I read about, I don't know why this gal connected with me. It was about decluttering, and I've read tons of books like that. Um, and the way she talked about like decluttering without making a mess, because I make the pile, everything gets messier before it gets better. And she's like, no, this way you have no mess. And when you can stop anytime. And I'm like, tell me more with my fatigue cognition issues.
What book was that?
And I can look that one up too. She's on YouTube. There was like I go down those YouTube tunnels all the time. But anyway, but just doing like removing just little things here and there, like going through a jar or a drawer or just like will has impacted my life greatly and makes it and just putting things back where they belong, like having a space and you just take it there and you take the 5 minutes to take it there, like every night, like just has done massive differences for
If
me.
she can get through to my husband, she is like a goddess.
Yeah, well,
But
he would help you out on certain things, but yeah, it was just, but I've read all these other books, but somehow how she said it, how she presented it, and she just did a little bit different. She has issues with ADHD. It just really resonates with me with having MS. I'm just like, this is my person. This is what I need to do. This is how I need to declutter. And then I just do little bits and part, and then everything I've got to, she calls something called a clutter threshold. So you get to a point where you just have stuff where you just can't, you can't keep it under control anymore. And with MS, my clutter threshold has gone down a lot. I really can't handle as much stuff as I used to. So I have to really downsize as much stuff as I have. And then it's more manageable and it's not so overwhelming. And so that's been really beneficial in my life. But how do I do that? How do I go about that? How do I get energized to do that? And
right,
it's craziness here. So,
yeah.
A book club about a book like that might be good therapy.
yeah. So her
Yeah.
name, let me look her up here. It's hard to. Her book that I really liked, and she find her. She's on YouTube. Um, so I actually watched her go through her steps that she did. The first part of the book I really liked. The second part wasn't as big of a fan. But let me put that in the chat.
I meant the first book.
The first book, The Gift, is
Yeah.
in the chat.
Okay. Can you
Rick put
click
it
on
in
the
there.
link? Will it take you out of this room or?
Yeah.
You can click on the link, and then when I close off the room at the end of the night, keep your browser open, and
Okay.
you'll be able to see it.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
yeah, it was posted at 8:46.
Well,
Your time.
depending on your time zone, you're in
Sorry,
Michigan.
since Central Time, it was 8:46 p.m.
Yeah. See, on
Kim,
my
are
end,
you
it's
in
7.
Harry
Michigan
asked
too?
what was the name of the book, and then it was posted.
Are you in Michigan, Kim?
No, I'm in Iowa.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm in Central Time Zone.
She's
I
an
also wanted to
Iowan.
say, I think we got the email addresses for Barry and Marlo, but I didn't know if Marie, if you wanted to send me your private message of your email address, and then we can put you on our mailing list if you like. We'll just send you announcements, a couple days before we have our groups. I guess you should say now, our next meeting is in 2 weeks on March 28th. And then we having a special webinar. It's not just MS. It is also with other groups like prostate. We're having Dr. Rubin come back. She is a urologist slash sexual health expert, and she's going to have a pelvic floor physical therapist with her, and they're going to all talk about pelvic floor, and that's just not for women. That is also for men. I will tell you, when I first talked to her, we did a webinar on urology. I think it was November of 21. And I talked to her and she's like, you need to see a pelvic floor physical therapist. I said, okay. So I did it. And oh my God, game changer for me with urinary issues. Totally resolved. I had a massive, we talk about people freaking out about going far away from a bathroom. And now I'm like, oh, I can travel, I can do things. It just was a real game changer for me. So I highly recommend it. If you guys have any problems with that, to check out the webinar on March 29th. That it would be a Wednesday. I don't know the time. There is some time to register. Tim, if you're still, can you look for the registry link and put it in the chat for me for AnCan to register for that webinar?
Yeah, give me just a few seconds and I will do that.
Thank you so
Oh, and
much,
then
Tim.
that's another thing. I am starting pelvic floor physical therapy.
Oh,
Um,
fantastic.
yeah, I finally, I changed my therapist and I was talking to her about, I need, pelvic floor. This is getting insane. So it finally came around. My doctor finally got the referral over to them. And I mean, it has to be specific for them to, advocate for additional physical therapies, that it is MS related. So that finally all the ball on that started getting rolling. So, oh, and I would have started probably sooner, but oh yeah, I had COVID last week. And I don't even know how I got it. That was fun. That was horrible. I think that's the worst COVID I've had. I'm still
Wait,
kind of recovering from it.
did you
You
say the
sound
worst
great.
COVID you've had?
Huh?
Did you say the worst COVID you've had?
Yes. It's not my first time. And I am the girl that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
I go to the doctor, I go to the physical therapist. That's it.
Yep. Yep.
But I'm the one that's ended up with COVID. My husband hasn't gotten it, but I'm the one who gets it. I'm like, how am I getting it? I'm not going anywhere. It's like
Right.
I breathe outdoor elements and I'm breathing in COVID. Like, if I leave the house, I'm breathing in COVID. So
You're
yeah,
still on Ocrevus, right, Christy?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're technically immunocompromised with that drug.
Oh yeah, for
So you're
sure.
more susceptible to it. I know when I got COVID the end of December, gosh, I had it for almost not quite 3 weeks, like 2.5 weeks, and it took forever to it took like 2 weeks to
Well,
finally have it like down. But thankfully it wasn't like bad where I couldn't breathe or was hospitalized or anything, but it was just would
right.
not go away. Just hung on
Well,
and hung on and hung on.
this time around I did a telehealth because I had no energy to go in to see a doctor. But this time around they prescribed, it's called Paxlovid. Paxlovid. It
Mhm.
is like for people who are at higher risk. There are some other, they'll prescribe it to pretty much anybody, but people who are higher risk, um, that's like the first thing they prescribe. And let me tell you, it cut like everything. It was a 5 day, twice a day in the morning and in the evening for 5 days. And it whatever it did, it killed everything. But I still have like sinus issues that I'm still trying to work through, but nothing like I was before. So it helped me with my cough. It helped with my my drainage. It was just a lot better. But still, it was the worst COVID I've had. So I don't know if that says anything. So
Did anyone have anything else they wanted to talk about tonight before we close up? I know Tim's working on those links for the webinar for the physical therapy, pelvic floor physical therapy. Comments, questions? can't answer all life answers. I can't answer all life's questions tonight, but we can dive into another time. No, no.
Just want everyone to have a
Amazing.
good couple of weeks. See you
Yeah,
back
you
here.
guys have a wonderful March. I don't know, you guys, we were like snowing, then it's nice, and it's snowing again. I'm assuming Carmen just always has snow and it never goes away.
No, no, it's beautiful here. It's going to be like, well, okay, it's Celsius, 10 degrees, 12, 15 degrees in a few days. It's beautiful. It has been
It
cold, but it's warming up and it's beautiful.
it's currently -2 C at my house right now.
Ugh, yeah. Well, it was 0 this morning when I got up, but it does warm up during the day and it's going to stay warmer now. I think we're done with snow.
Good,
So
good.
We
how
still
close are
have
you?
snow.
Oh,
We still
okay.
have lots of snow.
Yeah. How close am I to what, Kim?
How close are you to Banff?
About 7 hours.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's a 1 day drive. No problem. Come on up. Come have a visit. We'll drive to Banff.
Well, I'm working. I would love to do eventually where we start like doing, traveling and we meet. I talk to Rick every once in a while that I'd love to have an AnCan conference where us and all the other different groups meet and then we can have our breakout sessions and we can do the whole powwow with all the different support groups. I think it would be like super awesome.
Yeah.
So, but I'm always looking for fun places to visit or travel or do activities because I like to travel. I actually get to go traveling again in July. I'm totally super excited. I can't believe I'm traveling again. So, yeah,
Where are you going?
I'm going to Europe.
Cool.
Ooh.
My
Nice.
husband wants to go to TwitchCon, so I'm going to be going to Scotland and in France. TwitchCon's in Paris. So,
Nice.
Awesome.
yeah, I'm just freaked out. Like talking about like, oh, can I, July is like about this time of the year. AC is not as prevalent in Europe as it is in the US. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with the travel? How do you deal with, and just trying to figure it all out so I can do the trip and enjoy the trip and just realize once I come back from the trip, I will be recovering for probably at least 2 weeks, but it is worth
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
to enjoy it. And if
Have you
anyone
watched?
wants to get a postcard from me, I'm doing postcards. I did it when I was in Belize and I'm doing postcards again. So send me your address if you want a postcard from Europe and
Have
I
you
will
watched
send out.
Tripping on Air at all?
Oh, the blog?
Yeah, they do a lot. They do a lot of good talk about traveling.
That is a great reference. I've heard about the blog. I've read about it. I've put it on the back burner, but that is something I need to look at again.
I mean, they
Thank
have a
you,
YouTube
Marla.
channel, Tripping on Air.
Okay, she has a YouTube now?
Yes, they have a couple great videos about an hour long about travel and mobility aids and how great France is if you ever got to go to the hospital.
Oh yeah, I've had people, friends of friends that were vacationing and got COVID, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't have to pay anything to be admitted to the hospital for a week." Crazy.
It's crazy.
Like, oh, I guess if to get COVID, that's the best place to be hospitalized for it.
I think anywhere but the United States is a great place to be hospitalized.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like when I was on the island of Honduras and Roatan, I don't know if I'd want to have
Oh,
care. Now, I did find out when I was in Belize because I have to stop in a pharmacies just because that's what I used to do back in the day. I did find out in Belize that all the controlled substances over the counter. Don't need a prescription down there. Really threw me
Hmm.
off. I couldn't believe it. I'm
wow.
like, really? They're like, yeah. This. I'm like, so Oxycontin, and like, yeah. I'm like, do you have ADHD drugs? Like, no, we don't have those. They don't carry. Thing that really surprised me, they don't carry EpiPens down there. Can't get EpiPens down in Belize, but you can get your
Oh.
Vicodin over the counter. Found
Oh
that
my gosh.
very interesting. Very interesting.
Hmm.
And
No
then
luck
and
on
then
the links. No luck. I can't find it on the site, and I don't have the email.
okay, I'll make a note here for them to put the registration link on the next
I remember
reminder
reading it somewhere,
email.
but I can't remember where.
I am
Yeah, I remember it
terrible while
too.
navigating the site on AnCan sometimes. Okay, let me just Google.
Well, and I'm used to navigating horrible sites because I work for the government. So, oh wait, is this the
Oh,
recording? Oh,
absolutely.
jeez.
Can't make it easy.
Oh.
Let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And if you want to